Of course, we'll also do free topic and, you know, unpopular opinions. I guess I can give some of my initial thoughts on Starfield too while I'm at it. But before we go any further, I'd like everyone to introduce themselves. Go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself.
This country about Nito say that Sony's been eating alphabet soup. Uh, the only letters in this alphabet soup is L's because they just keep taking L's.
Well, I was gonna say
And
F and up, F U and P, because that's what they've been doing. But hey,
yeah,
L's is more poetic. Take those L's.
yeah, yeah. It's they announced their PlayStation new models and people it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but
What? No one
save that
cared.
for um they didn't drop the price. And usually when you get new models, especially slim down models, they drop the price.
Where
And
they strip stuff out.
yeah, the digital version is dumb because now it's $50 more, and the disc add-on, the Blu-ray add-on, is $80. So you might as well just get the disc version of it, the slim model, rather than get the digital version and getting the disc unit later.
Well, now we know why Jim Ryan left.
Yeah,
Because if he had been at the helm of this shit when it came out, everyone would have shit on him. Even though
yeah,
he probably was the architect of it.
yeah. It's just it's just so like Sony's Sony's back at the mindset that they were at during the PS3 era.
I mean, you mean the PS2 era?
The PS2 era, yeah. I mean, the beginning of the because I remember the beginning of the PS3. They were like, people have to work two. People will be willing to work two jobs to get one of these consoles, get the PS3.
And
So,
people didn't,
they were,
and they just sat in the
yeah,
store.
yeah,
um, yeah, I mean, I don't. How can I put this nicely? Actually, I don't have to be nice. I can just tell the absolute truth. The problem with Sony, and I've said this before, I've told this to so many people, um, and they got mad at me when I said it. I said, look, when Sony gets a win, an unmitigated win, they get arrogant, and then they show their ass. And then I told them, hey, when what's it called? What's the other one? When Nintendo gets arrogant, they show their ass. And right now,
yeah,
you're seeing the fruits of Sony being arrogant. This is why I told everyone, I said, look, don't just go buying PS4s just because. And they did. And now Sony is arrogant and they think they can do anything they want. No consequences.
yeah,
So,
yep,
I'm not really surprised. I'm not.
yeah,
I'm not really. I mean, some people will be like, oh, Sony defenders. Well, it's expensive to make a console. Yeah, but traditionally, the only company that really made money off their console was Nintendo. Everyone else lost money on their console.
yeah. Because they want to go to this quote unquote bleeding edge technology.
Well, not just that, but it's just like it's because consoles are never. No console has ever been top of the line. But basically, what winds up happening is, the console comes out, it does okay. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
like the console, they might lose $5-10 on the console, but they make it up with the games. Like
yeah,
that's where the money is, the software. Nintendo's unique because they subsidized the cost of their console for years. Like the from any from the Famicom to the Super Famicom to the N64, they basically like controlled most of the technology for those games to get made. I mean, for those systems to get made. So they were making them at cost or a little bit above cost, passing that on to you, which is why Nintendo games were so fucking expensive. That's where they made the money. They got maybe 10, 15, $20 off the console, and then, you know, 30 to $50 per game.
Yeah.
So, that's basically what they were doing. But that's the exception. That's not the rule.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Um, but yeah, I'm not surprised because they got arrogant, and when people should have been taking them to task, they bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you think this is going to be a thing?
What exactly? Sorry.
Do you think that the PlayStation is going to be a thing? Like
The
the PlayStation
PlayStation?
Thin, sorry, the PlayStation Slim is going to be a thing. Do you think that this is going to be, um, you know,
I think the disc version will sell because that's a better deal than the digital than the discless version.
you think it's going to do
Because I
well?
think there's yeah I think but at the same time I think people I think a lot more people, especially younger, uh, don't really care, so they might end up just getting the digital version just because it's like, well, you know,
It's like the Xbox Series S, but the Series S
yeah,
is the same price as right now. I know Microsoft said they're going to raise the price, but that's still what, 299 to 350.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
still not, that's a Christmas gift. That's a birthday gift. If it's someone you care about that's in your immediate circle of family, you don't mind spending that type of money. But like just for your own personal thing, I just
yeah. I mean, 450. I mean, it's just the PlayStation 5 without the disc drive, while the Series S is a stripped down Series X. Uh, so it's just it, I'm not like I think most people will probably go for. I think they reveal. Most people go for the disc version just because it's a much better deal than the digital version, and then buying the uh, disc attachment later. Uh,
so let me get this straight. They basically made the Sega CD to their PlayStation. Wait a second.
yeah, I
I
mean,
didn't pay attention to it. I just heard about it. I didn't watch anything. So let me. So basically there's the digital version, and then you can get a Blu-ray player for it that you attach to it, like the Sega CD attachment.
yeah, and it's $80.
That's
So
some
so
bullshit, man.
so it's so the digital version they raised $50 more, so it's 450, and you can buy the disc attachment, which is $80. Now, how they kept it at $400, and then buy the disc attachment, you probably could have saved a couple of bucks.
Or you
Now,
could just go buy one of the old ones that are $4.99
yeah,
and everything's
yeah,
attached.
and
So I
another
guess
thing,
you're paying a little bit less, like $10 less. But if you factor in taxes, it's functionally the same amount of money.
yeah, yeah,
So I don't,
but
whatever.
another thing is they're selling the vertical stand because you get so it used to come with a stand that you could use it. You can set the PS5 either horizontally or vertically, but they're selling a vertical stand separately
Uh huh.
um, for $30. So you have to buy that separately if you want to set your console vertical. But they're still nice enough to give you a stand that lets you place your console horizontal. But most people have their console vertically.
Well, not to mention
So
that if you put the PlayStation 5 horizontally, apparently there's a design flaw where it fucks up. Some of them it fucks up the discs. It like it like scrapes up the disc or something. I can't remember. It's some bullshit like that.
well, here's the thing. So this is a way for them to raise the overall PS5 prices without raising the overall PS5 prices here in the States. Because remember, it was last year when they're like, oh, we're raising the PS5 prices in these various regions because of their weakening currency.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least that's the excuse. But,
That's the
you know, oh,
excuse. That's probably
it
not
is
what's
true.
really going on, but that's the excuse they're going to use.
Yeah, yeah. So you have that, and now so they didn't want to raise the price over here because people would
Freak.
pitch a fit. Yeah, and so they come out with a new version of the PS5, and instead of raising the price of it, well, for the digital model, they raised the price of it by $50. They nickel and dime you. Uh, to get various features that came with that came with the original console. So they squeeze a little bit more money out of you.
Oh man, I'm glad I didn't get a PS5. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
And I couldn't. Wouldn't- I just don't see myself ever really investing in consoles anytime soon.
I mean, I'll get Nintendo's next console. I'm not going to day one get it like I did the Switch.
Yeah, I'm not like super ultra like ecstatic about that. I'm just kind of like, well, it'll come
Yeah,
out when it comes out.
the only reason
When
I
it
got an
comes out, I'll get it when I
Xbox,
get it.
the only reason I got an Xbox was because it came with like a year, like the initial purchase, it automatically came with 6 months of Game Pass, like Ultimate Game Pass. So on my PC and the Xbox, but then it also came with another year of Ultimate Game Pass on top of that. So like I got basically 18 months of Ultimate Game Pass on top of it being the Xbox Series X. So, it was like, okay, that's fair. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't even play my Series X that often. I really don't. So, it's just one of those things where it's like, and like I'm not really all that into I'm not all that into console gaming these days. Like I would rather wait for something to hit my PC than play it on console.
Yeah, I'm that way too.
Um like the only way I'll get something on console is if I know it is never coming to PC.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure Bait and Katos 1 and 2 is going to come to PC at some point, like Octopath Traveler did. And when it does, I'll get it.
Yeah. It says Bandai Namco, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I
So,
mean, shit. Tales of Arise came to PC. A lot of stuff from Bandai Namco came to PC, unless it was exclusively a Nintendo IP that like they built themselves. Like
yeah.
Smash Brothers ain't coming to PC, even though Namco Bandai worked on that. But I'm pretty sure Bait and Katos might just do it.
Yeah.
It's just so that it can get a bigger audience. Anyway, yeah. Plus, I already have those games on GameCube. I have the quote unquote definitive version of those games already. So, um, like me getting it again on PC is just that I can play it with cheats, tons and tons of cheats.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep it moving. So anything else you want to add about Sony? Just shit in the bed yet again.
Nah.
uh,
Nah. I'm sure there'll be more bad news next week.
yeah, because it's Sony. They can't help themselves. Sony is like that football team that like everyone like they have that dedicated fan base. It's just like no, they're gonna do it this time. It's like no, they're gonna fuck up. They're gonna find some way to fuck up because that's what they do.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Let's keep it moving to the next topic. Uh, which is we're gonna segue over to Nintendo. So I recently read an article where a guy said that he would like to see Nintendo remake A Link to the Past. Um, and when I read the article, I was like hell you will, because I'm one
Yeah.
of those people. I didn't like the Link's Awakening remake. I'm not too crazy about Link Between Worlds. Um, and allow me to explain my stance. And if you have a argument, you can agree or disagree. I feel that Link to the Past is like I think the original Link to the Past is one of the greatest Legend of Zelda games ever made. Uh, I think that Link's Awakening is one of the greatest handheld Legend of Zelda games, and I feel that the remakes were A Link Between Worlds isn't terrible, but if you compare it to what it's supposed to be a indirect sequel to, it's inferior.
Why do you say that? Because it just reuses a lot of the same locations.
Oh no, no, it's just the game design is inferior.
Oh.
No, no, it's no. Because the whole point of Link to the Past is like you start out kind of weak, and the game kind of holds your hand a little bit in the first two or three dungeons. And then once you get to the Dark World, the game opens up, and you're basically like you can go anywhere and do anything you want after that first Dark World dungeon. Like once you get the hammer and fight the Helmerach King in the Fortress of Darkness, the game really opens up, and it's like okay, do what you want to do. But there's still areas where it's like, oh, if yeah, you can do what you want to do, but if you go here, those enemies are really tough, and you'll get your ass kicked. Link Between Worlds, because of its level design, its gameplay design, like basically they wanted to basically make it super open and you could go in any way you wanted. You did not have that difficulty spike or that clever design. So instead, it's like your character progression was instead built upon you having enough money to rent or buy the items from alternate world mirror link um, salesman.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is money was really easy to come by, and even the little caves that you could go into, like they would respawn money once you went to Mirror World. Just go back and forth, just keep on getting money, and then you could get whatever you wanted. So the whole character progression was just kind of broken as shit in Link Between Worlds,
Yeah.
which I mean, the original Link to the Past, that is a major aspect. Like when you get an upgrade for your character, it feels like an upgrade. Like when Link goes from the green mail to the blue mail to the red mail, it feels like an upgrade. When you go from your shitty little Hylian shield to the red shield to the mirror shield, it feels like an upgrade. When you power up the Master Sword, it feels like an upgrade. Um, when you get new items in dungeons, it feels like, oh wow, I'm more dangerous. Link Between Worlds, that feeling isn't there because you can just get practically fucking everything if you got enough money.
Yeah.
Um, Now, Link's Awakening remake just kind of feels kind of like, eh. Like what makes Link's Awakening special as a game is that they were able to put all of that content in a little Game Boy cartridge. So you would think with a remake they would like really go balls to the wall, and what they wound up making was like almost a one for one remake, except instead of having the color dungeon or anything like that, you just had oh you can create your own dungeon. Okay,
Yeah.
nah,
Yeah.
no new content. I mean, aside from that, they stripped out content really in that game. So
Yeah.
it's like it's just underwhelming. Also, that I think that game was like $60.
Well, the thing about Link Between Worlds is I like the concept, but maybe they made getting those items a little too easy.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
they made getting that stuff really much more easier than probably it should have been.
yeah.
Um, so I will agree with you on that. But I did like the open endedness. I maybe wish they would have had some way that you could, and I think they did, uh, some way to get around certain things without having various items.
Oh,
But
they did. For like, there were
yeah,
alternate ways into almost every dungeon in the game. The problem, once again, however, is you would have to be an ultra experienced Legend of Zelda player in order to do it. Now, I could do it, but for Joe Blow average gamer who had never played a Legend of Zelda game, they're fucked.
yeah,
Like, I mean, now, okay, well, let me add this disclaimer. I have played every mainline Legend of Zelda game and most of the side games. So when it comes to Legend of Zelda, if I'm not a fucking expert, I dare you to find someone who isn't. Okay? Um, so I'm approaching it from someone who's just like really like played a lot of these fucking games. Um, so not everyone has like my point of view on how I look at it is going to be different than somebody else.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so if you aren't heavily into Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds, I wouldn't put that as a good primer to the series. I would say go with Link's Awakening Classic or Link's Awakening DX on the Game Boy Color. Um, don't play the Capcom ones like Link Oracle of Ages or Seasons or Minish Cap, because Minish Cap is got some really bad difficulty spikes, and that final boss Vadi is a motherfucker. And
Then again, the problem with Image Cab is there's too much. I feel like it's trying to do too much.
yeah, there's too many gimmicks in it. Like the whole like, oh, you got the Pickery stones, you can share them with your friends, the kin stones and all that shit. I'm like, this is just too much. This is too much. You're doing too much. Um, and like I said, the final boss, like that game has some weird difficulty spikes because like most of the bosses in the dungeons are really easy until you get to Vadi at the end of the game, and Vadi, I shit you not, one of the hardest final bosses in a Legend of Zelda game I've ever played. Like, legit. Like, and I've played all of them.
Yeah,
Listen here. Every mainline Legend of Zelda game I've played and beaten and 100%ed. And I'm telling you, Vadi's hard. So it's a difficult boss fight. Like, abnormally difficult. Um,
yeah.
and it's a slog. It's a fucking slog. Um, so I would say play Link's Awakening, like either the old one or the classic one. Don't play if you play the remake done by Grezzo. I kind of don't want to steer people to play that one first because I don't consider that to be the definitive version of that game because there's a lot of stripped out features.
What
And
game?
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening.
There's three
Yeah.
versions of it. There's the original for the Game Boy. There's the original remaster, which is DX, which was the colorized version for the Game Boy Color. And then there was the Grezzo remake, which was released on the Switch for 60 goddamn dollars, where they stripped out content.
Yeah.
I'm like, so you're gonna charge me $60, strip out content, and not add anything? Plus, that art style just didn't jibe with me.
Yeah.
I think that was the wrong art style to use for a Legend of Zelda game. Because I know what they were going for. They're like, well, we want to make it look like you're playing with dolls, like little claymation dolls. I'm like, yeah, but y'all should have went full claymation or made it cell shaded.
Yeah.
Because it just looks kind of milk. It looks kind of basic to me. I'm sorry, but anyway. But I know a lot of people like that game, so if you like it, I'm not going to cast aspersions on you liking something, but it did fuck all for me.
I thought it was good, but the asking price was way too much.
What, sixty
That
dollars for a
yeah,
remake?
that was fucking ridiculous. That price was just, but it's like this is this is a game. This is a one for one version of the Game Boy game, which you could beat in like 15 minutes.
No,
15
but it
minutes or
wasn't a
less.
one for one version of the Game Boy game because the Game Boy game, the two Game Boy games had extra content that was stripped out for the new one. And they still did, like, they didn't really add enough new content to make it be like, okay, this is a $60 game. Like, if they had added,
Yeah.
like, maybe two or three new dungeons, like, I don't mean that bullshit, well, you can create your own dungeon. I mean, literally, like, new dungeons made. And if they had added two or three new dungeons and maybe like some new side quests, some new items that you can use, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. But they didn't do any of that, so fuck them.
I like the art style. I like the toy like art style. Kind of brought home that dream aspect that they were going for, but I was just kind of like, there's really not. I mean, I never really played through the Game Boy version. I played a little bit of it, um, but I played it and I was just kind of like, there's. I mean, you guys are asking $60 for that. I mean, it's not a bad game, but this should have been at least 30, $40 at the most.
Fair,
But,
fair, fair. I mean, I would have accepted 49.99. Um,
yeah, yeah,
I would have accepted $50.
yeah.
But 60, like full price for a for a remake of a Game Boy game, I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Anyway, but with that being said, let's segue to the end of this. If I had my druthers and they remade A Link to the Past, I would want them to add new content to it and not just be a one for one remake. Um, like maybe add some new dungeons, new
I would just,
enemies.
I would just like it to look like Link to the Past, but like with like some of the new, like the something along the lines of the 2D HD stuff that they do with the
Dragon
um
Quest and
Octo,
Octopath Traveler.
Octo yeah,
That would be cool. What I would now, here's my druthers, and I know they're not going to do it. Have you ever seen the art of Link to the Past, like the manual, the manga art?
yeah. I've seen
I
that
would like a
before.
Legend of Zelda that looked like that, because that's the Link I grew up with. This
Yeah,
bullshit they got now, where he looks like a grown ass man. I'm like, nah, man, kid Link
yeah.
looks like he's 12 or 13 years old. Fighting monsters and shit. I'm like, that'd be awesome. Are they gonna do that? Fuck no, because that takes a lot of work, and they ain't doing that for a 2D Legend of Zelda game. Though they might do it for a 3D one, not a 2D one. But yeah, that would be my druthers. Have the Koji Kondo theme. I don't want that bullshit they had in Breath of the Wild or uh, Tears of the Kingdom. I want classic Koji Kondo, classic Zelda themes. Okay, all right. Real dungeons, real items in dungeons. No fucking weapon durability. Unless your shield gets eaten by a light, like then you're just kind of fucked. But that's an exception, not the rule. Um, that's it. It's, if you're if you're gonna go traditional, if you're gonna make a remake of what is arguably one of the best Legend of Zelda games ever made, then goddamn it, bring your fucking A game. Okay.
yeah.
Don't be doing some half-ass bullshit. Speaking of half-ass bullshit, it's a terrible segue. Apparently, the Switch successor rumors keep on popping out. I think it's a load of bullshit because until I see more effort, but basically, Nintendo is supposedly supposed to be launching this thing next year in October or September. And if it's like a soft launch, and if that doesn't look good, they'll drop it down. They'll release it in November 2024.
Yeah.
which kind of makes sense because just in terms of business, because like I said, the Switch is winding down, and it's about time for Nintendo to get their new hardware ramping up. And a lot of their
Yeah.
first party studios that would be making other shit for the Switch are transitioning over to making shit for their next gaming device.
Yeah.
Hence why you're not getting an expansion pack for Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with because, I mean, I'm going to say something that's going to make some people mad who liked Breath of the Wild. That the expansion content for that game wasn't great either.
Yeah.
Okay, um, the Master Sword trials were just a whole bunch of extra shit. It was like a fucking gauntlet, kind of like in Wind Waker, where you could fight your way down to the pit into the pit of despair, like 50 floors, or is it like 100 floors? Some ridiculous amount of floors. And halfway through, you get a Triforce piece, and if you kept on going, you got like a heart piece. It was like, this is just kind of lame.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you got the Master Cycle, but like that's still kind of stupid because I mean, like the other Hyrule people, they got like Megazords, and Link he gets a motorcycle. What type of bullshit is this?
Yeah.
That's it's like I'm still it's like I have to save the world. I wield the most powerful magical weapon ever, but I get a fucking motorcycle and these dudes get giant mechs. What type of bullshit is this? No wonder I got my ass kicked by Ganondorf. Shit. Some bullshit, man. Some bullshit. So yeah, it's a lot of rumors, so I'm gonna put an asterisk next to it, but it makes sense that they're winding down the Switch. They're getting out whatever. They're getting out their last gasp of games that were too far in the pipeline to cancel or move over to the next console. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure their A teams are working on shit that's going to be launch games for their next console. Hopefully, it
Yeah.
launches with a Mario game, a 3D Mario game, a 2D Mario game, and a Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah.
Probably not, though, considering that Tears of the Kingdom just wrapped up development like a year and a half ago. Maybe
Yeah.
2 years ago. I can't remember.
So what are some of the main rumors? I haven't really been following the rumor mill because I'm just kind of like, well, I'm just waiting for them to announce it
Yeah,
whenever
I
they
can look
do.
it up. Here, let me look it up. Switch, Nintendo Switch successor.
I expect everybody just to be vastly disappointed. They're gonna be like, "Oh man."
Well, let me put it this way. Some people are saying, "Oh shit!" Once again, it's from Sirkin Toto, who has been mostly wrong. But so here are the rumors. All right. So there's going to be two SKUs. There's going to be it's going to use an LCD screen instead of a OLED in order to bring down costs. Uh, it's going to use a cartridge. So it basically, Nintendo has said it wants to convert as many of the Switch's 100 million user base as possible to its next system. So I'm guessing it'll probably be some way, shape, or form backwards compatible. I'm thinking it'll probably use the same cartridge size, and it'll probably emulate a Switch, um,
Yeah.
which makes sense. Um, So I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what else. Okay, this is from The Verge. Take it with a grain of salt. So basically, Nintendo's next hardware. This is the rumor now. So they said that there's 4K Nintendo Switch development kits, and at least 11 developers have reportedly received said kits. Um,
Yeah.
and they say that Nintendo and Nvidia are working on a significant chip upgrade for this next gen console. Well, obviously they have to because the current gen, the current gen. I mean, the Switch struggles to run basic shit right now.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know. What do you think about it? Agree, disagree, don't care? Is it a must buy for you? Do you not give a shit? I don't know.
I don't I just don't care right now. I keep seeing all this stuff pop up in my feed on YouTube. I'm just kind of like, man, let's just give it a rest.
Look, they'll release it when they release it. You're probably going to be disappointed, and only initially the most hardcore fans are going to buy it. Okay.
Yeah,
Hopefully they'll
probably.
have better commercials than they had for the Switch, where they had people. Remember those commercials when the Switch first launched? People were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the basketball court, not play basketball, and bring my Switch, so that
Yeah, that's
someone
true.
can smash a fucking basketball onto my Switch." Because if you take some expensive ass shit to a basketball court, inevitably something's going to happen to break it. Inevitably.
Yeah.
That's why you don't bring expensive shit around uh, places where it can be damaged. That's just life 101. That's not even. That's just how the world works right there.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hopefully they'll have some better commercials. Hopefully, if they're sticking with Nvidia, they'll have a better graphics card, integrated graphics card than what they've been using. Because, oh boy, that Tegra is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It is a piece of dog shit. Oh boy,
Not
that's
exactly firing on all cylinders.
I mean, two is two cylinder,
Two cylinders.
two
Yeah.
cylinders. Hey man, that's I knew the Tegra was fucked when it was struggling. I knew the Switch was in trouble hardware wise when I was playing games that ran relatively well on my Wii U were running like were struggling on the Switch. I was like, oh, this is not good. This is not good at all. I was I remember playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I went to this area, and literally it was like trying to load the area, and I'm there, and I'm just seeing a flat fractal thing, and then everything loads in. I'm like, shit, what type of bullshit is this?
Yeah.
This ain't right, son. But that's just me. I just work here. Um, let's keep it moving. See what else. Mid-tier development. So as we've seen, game development has gotten more expensive and more time consuming. Um, Franchises that used to be able to get out two, three, four, five games per console gen are lucky if they can get out one game or a half a game in the case of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Um, id Software, the company that created Doom and Quake, all that type of shit, the first year they were in existence, they got out 13 games.
Yeah.
Let me repeat that. The first year that they were a company, a studio, they got out 13 games.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Final Fantasy, when Hironobu Sakaguchi was the lead director, the executive director over there, and it was under the auspices of Squaresoft and not Square Enix. Let me tell you
Yeah.
something. They got out 3 Final Fantasies per console gen. Okay? 5 to 6 years, 3 games. And that was just Final Fantasy. I'm not talking about all the side shit they also did too.
Yeah.
Okay? In the 4th gen, they got out 3 Final Fantasies, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, Bahamut Lagoon, Live Alive, Front Mission Gun Hazard, Seiken Densetsu 2 and 3. Okay, that's like 7, 8 games. Oh, I forgot. Super Mario RPG 9. All right.
Yeah, they had a game like every year, or a couple games every year.
Functionally, yeah, but guess what? They can barely get one Final Fantasy out in 6 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what to say except this is the world we live in, folks. This is the world we live in.
Yeah. It's a world a lot of you wanted, because you wanted better graphics.
I want realistic graphics. Realistic graphics. It's like, but it's an RPG. I don't need realistic graphics in my RPGs.
Yeah. Not to mention, you got more systems too in some of these games. A lot of these games, you really don't have much of anything going on except maybe, of course, a lot more animations. And
What, you don't like the talking
voice
simulators?
acting.
The talking sim. You don't like the talking simulators?
Yeah, you just. But at the same time, it's like they had to make their own. They had to make their own engines. You know, they couldn't rely on. You know, other people's engines like they do now.
Yeah, but they just use the same engine over and over and over again. It's the reason why Final
Yeah,
Fantasy 1, 2. It's the reason why Final Fantasy 4 for the Super Nintendo looks like a really, really good NES game.
yeah,
You know, if you take out the mode 7, like all the different modes that are used, it looks like an astonishingly good um, Final Fantasy. It looks like an astonishingly good NES game. Like a lot of the like third party, like year 1, year 2 SNES games look very much like really good NES games.
yeah,
You know, and it's the reason why late generation games, uh, typically, not now because all these consoles are just basically gaming PCs. But back in the day on consoles, towards the end of a console's life cycle, the developers who had been working on those consoles got to the point where they could push those consoles to the point where those like end of year games, end of life cycle games look damn near close to what the shit that was coming out next gen, like the next generation. Like Kirby for the NES, some of the hardware tricks they use to make like the game have those semi-transparencies and parallax scrolling, and like you climb a tower and the tower spins and go, like the steps go up as you're going. That's some shit that they could have done easily on the SNES, but for the NES, it's like that took a lot of dedication. That was some hardcore
Yeah.
programming back then. But yeah, that's
And
and
it's like they're good. The thing about a lot of modern day games is like they create the illusion like there's a lot more going on than there actually is.
yeah.
Yeah, you also got to figure in. You also got these big cut scenes. They spend so much money for, and again, people want these these giant these giant experiences.
Experiences, yeah, experiences, yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's taking so long for these games to get made. I mean, sometimes I think they got too many people on these projects, which might also factor into the fact that why they're taking so long to get made.
But anything else?
No,
Anyway, let's keep it moving. Next topic. Um, oh no, we got to keep it moving. So basically, as we all know, game development has become slowed down, and it's like a lot of indie studios and a lot of big ass publishers and their machines making games. There's no mid tier development anymore. Um, and those studios are getting eaten up by Microsoft, Embracer Group, 2K, EA. You know. So
yeah,
with that being said, do you see an end in sight? Is there a solution, or are we just doomed
yeah.
to bullshit?
Another crash. That's the only solution I see.
Yeah, but does it have to be a crash?
I like the barbarians to not come out the gate either. I like to avoid the barbarians reaching the gate, but sometimes that's the only way people are going to learn. You tell them 101 times,
Don't stick your
they can't
hand on
keep
that
living that
burning
way.
eye on the stove, but they just keep on doing it.
You keep on doing it. So it's
It's
just
like,
like, well, I guess we're all going to have to learn the hard way, and now we all have to suffer because people couldn't get their act together.
all right.
I, I, I like to wish that we could avoid the crash, but people were like everybody decided to do some napkin math and saw a few people making so much money.
They're like, well, why not me
Yeah,
too?
yeah, I want some of that. I want what they're having, rather than standing in
Not
the lane for
figuring
the
out
good.
that they made that money by you know being right place, right time,
Yeah, exactly.
or building
People,
something bit by bit, piece by piece.
yeah,
So yeah, I agree. Um, I mean, like I said, I wish it was better, but
yeah,
I mean, like there's gonna have to be a crash or a reckoning. Either way, gamers are not going to be getting their games for a little bit, and they're going to get mad as hell.
Find new hobbies, I guess. Find other hobbies. I mean, there's a lot of old shit out there that's still pretty good.
Yeah, but they don't want to do that. People don't want to play old games. They want to play. They want the next and the next and the greatest. Always the next and the greatest.
Yeah.
No one ever wants to like just stick with something and get better at it, because that takes time and energy, and why would they do that?
Exactly.
Anyway, that being said, let's move on to the next topic. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Star Trek fan. Love Star Trek. Grew up with it. Grew up watching Star Trek, the original series. Now, obviously, I'm not old enough to have grown up seeing it when it first came out, but goddamn, I did watch the syndicated reruns.
Yeah.
That was my joy. Like literally, I would get up in the morning when I was a little kid. Like because the way my kindergarten worked, it wasn't every day of the week. It was like some days it would be like Monday to Thursday, and then I had Friday off, or like Tuesday to Friday. So there would be one day of the week where I just would be home. So I would watch TV all day, and this was when we still had independent TV stations. So it would be in syndication. So like early in the morning, I'd get up, eat my breakfast, and then I would watch cartoons on TNT, and then a few westerns, and then I would watch on TBS. They would have like their early morning. They would have their early morning lineup. So early morning lineup would be science fiction. So you'd have Star Trek, Lost in Space, Twilight Zone, Outer Limits.
Yeah.
And then in the afternoon, they'd have on TBS. They would have Monster Vision with Grandpa Munster from the from the Munsters, where they would show some type of monster movie like Godzilla or King Kong or Gorgo or some shit like that. Basically, it'd be someone in a rubber suit beating the shit out of some miniatures. It'd be great. Which I still say that would be the best job ever.
Yeah.
Just, hey, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this city. Yeah. Godzilla just pulling a Rick James on Tokyo. This is a nice temple. Fuck your temple. Get another temple. This is basically functionally speaking, ever since the second Godzilla movie, there's like this like major iconic temple in Kyoto, and almost every fucking Godzilla movie, it gets smashed to bits. They must really hate that fucking temple, like Toho. They're like, yeah, fuck your temple.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, with all that being said, Star Trek has had a rocky history as of late. The last time we had a series on TV, it was Enterprise, and Enterprise was like Enterprise. The first season of Enterprise started out really rocky, and then they started to right the ship in the second season. Then the third season, it started to get really good, and the fourth season, like they rushed it because they found out they weren't going to get renewed for a fifth season. So a lot of storylines that should have been allowed to unfold and become good just got wrapped up really quickly.
Yeah.
Or just not told, just buried and never told, never expanded on, which is kind of sad because Enterprise was actually really fucking good, but that's neither here nor there. Um, so after Enterprise went off the air, we didn't have any Star Trek on television for a while. But something interesting happened over there at CBS. They split uh, CBS and Viacom, which owned CBS and Paramount, split the brand. So half of the movie rights went to Paramount, the TV rights went to CBS, and neither of them could be like the other. Which is why when Paramount rebooted Star Trek, we got that ass-tastic J.J. Abrams shit. Like Star Trek, the motion, the Star Trek movie from J.J. Abrams that had fuck all to do with Star Trek, and you know, Star Trek Into Darkness, which was just fucking Wrath of Khan all over again, but a shitty version of it, and
Yeah.
Star Trek Beyond, which wasn't good either. Um,
Yeah.
so now they want to reboot it. They want to bring back Star Trek the TV series, and the only thing I have to say is, I'm not against it, but I hope they don't. I hope they can learn from the mistakes of their past. Some people will wonder, well, why were the Star Trek reboots done by J.J. Abrams not very good? Because first of all, J.J. Abrams never liked Star Trek and didn't understand the idea behind it. Um, like had no reverence for it, and you can tell because he basically created something that was dog shit. Um, with those three Star Trek movies. Ugh. So
Yeah.
hopefully, no, go ahead, Kenoshi.
Yeah, they were not. Those movies were not very good.
You know, the first movie was like the first movie was serviceable.
Yeah.
You know, it was perfectly it was perfectly it was perfectly it was perfectably serviceable. Okay, um, wasn't terrible, wasn't great. It was serviceable. Um, could have been better, could have been worse. You know, you know. Um, I would say the biggest issue with that movie, with the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, is um, like they fucked up in introducing, like putting a young Kirk, a young Spock. Like they should have just done their own fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to connect it to old shit. Um, because I'm a huge Trekkie, and like a lot of the choices they made in that movie, I'm just like, for real, bruh?
Yeah.
Okay. If that's where you want, if that's the way you want to do it.
Hi, I'm
But that's just me. Um, but anyway, they're gonna do a reboot now. Allegedly, it's in the works. I hopefully they learned from the last stuff, and now that Paramount, Viacom, CBS, and Viacom are now combined again, they don't have to fucking change everything to make it look so goddamn different. Klingons will look like Klingons. It won't be so goddamn actiony. Because here's the thing: I'm not against action in science fiction, but it has to be earned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like Alien is a horror is a sci-fi horror movie, right? But at the end of the movie, Ellen Ripley like has to like outwit the alien that somehow snuck itself on the escape pod ship and get it to go and suck it out into space, right? But that that would have no significance if you didn't see how deadly the alien was and how it took out every other member of the crew up until that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Except for the fucking cat. Like, literally, that's what makes Alien. That's what makes that action scene pay off so much. Is because you have this lead up of all of this to build up to that point. Like, how's she gonna get out of this? J.J. Abrams didn't understand that. Just a ton of fucking action for no goddamn reason. You know, he's like, well, I wanted to create my own alternate universe in Star Trek. But your alternate universe doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah.
And if you were a Trekkie, if you have anyone in your family who's really into Star Trek, and ask them to explain why the J.J. Abrams verse, the Kelvin timeline universe doesn't make sense, they'll explain it to you. And once they do, you'll be like, oh wait, that doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Anything you want to add before we move on to the final little bit, which is just going to be unpopular opinion?
You know, I thought the first movie was okay.
All right.
The other two just were not good.
What, you didn't like Wrath of Khan, where they turned
No, I didn't like that.
where they turned Khan Noonien Sung, who's supposed to be he's an Indian person. He's an Asian person from subcontinent Asia. So like India, Pakistan, that area. They turned him into a fucking white guy. And not only a white guy, the whitest guy on earth, Benedict Cumberbatch, an Englishman, where they make white people.
Yeah.
I'm Khan, and fuck you. That's what I wanted to say the whole time. I was like, man, go fuck yourself. Yeah. That second movie was just. That second movie made me mad. Like when they made Benedict Cumberbatch, it's like, I'm Khan. I'm like, no, you didn't. No. Because all the fans told J.J. Abrams and Alex Kurtzman, don't do Wrath of Khan again. Do something different. And they're like, we're gonna do what we want to do. Fuck you. Okay. Kill the franchise.
Yeah. I'm not. In the Darkness movie was just like, what the? Not In the Darkness, but the
Beyond?
Yeah. I just felt like there was a whole lot of something missing from that movie.
Yeah, it was a mess because they had to rewrite that film like 6, 7, 8 times. It had to be restarted like 3 times. The problem with Beyond was the bed had already been shat in with the previous film, and so even if Beyond had been really good, it had to pay for the previous film.
Yeah.
It's like Solo suffered because of The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Like so even if Solo wasn't a total and complete piece of shit, it had to pay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Disney ran talking about another old franchise being ran into the ground.
I mean, the problem with Star Wars being run into the ground is that Disney has people in charge of it who, once again, don't understand the franchise and don't fucking care.
You know.
I mean, why would you put non-creative people in charge of an IP that thrives on creativity, I'll never understand. It's like, I'm going to put you in charge of a bakery, but I don't have a sense of taste. Exactly! It's like, no! Get the fuck out of here. That's Disney with Star Wars, and Paramount for the longest time with Star Trek. Because, like I said, J.J. Abrams, like, he went on the Jon Stewart show. They're like, oh, like what was your thought process in rebooting Star Trek? He's like, well, I never understood Star Trek. It was too philosophical and thought provoking for me. So my key word when I was making these films was rock and roll. I'm like, yeah, you the wrong fucking guy. You are the wrong guy for this shit right here.
Yeah, it's like, why are you making Star Trek into Star Wars? We already have Star Wars.
Yeah, but he didn't even make it into Star Wars, because then he went to Star Wars and fucked that up too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, this is, like Star Trek, Star Trek is light science fiction. It's not hard. Well, it's like mid science fiction, but really Star Trek is about the philosophical. It's a philosophical exercise. What if we had a future where humanity got their shit together? Okay? We weren't trying to kill each other on our planet. We solved our environmental issues. We had universal health care, universal basic income, one world government, like all the nice shit that people want from a socialist utopia, okay? And like, we traveled in space. We met other species like us and formed a federation of united planets to travel the galaxy doing scientific exploration and shit, okay? How would we, if we have evolved to that point where we aren't sexist and racist and tolerant, shit like that, how would we deal with species who aren't?
Yeah.
It's a philosophical exercise. J.J. Abrams didn't fucking understand that. Like, some of the best, like, as a Star Trek fan, some of my favorite episodes are like the episodes where they have like law episodes where people have to, like, there's this really great episode about this lady who her father was a judge in the Federation, and so she's now an like an admiral or like a jurist advocate. Like, she goes around and she's trying to find spies in the Federation, and so she basically starts a witch hunt, just drumming up anything to like basically accuse people and have them excoriated legally.
Yeah.
And it's like a really good episode. And like the captain's like, look, yes, this man lie about his parentage? Yes. Does that make him a bad officer? No. He's like, the moment we sit here and we start like looking at everyone who isn't exactly what we think they should be, and they're different as being a criminal, is the moment that we lose whatever rights and freedoms we profess to protect. Like, shit like that. And the woman just goes crazy and loses her goddamn mind. And you find out, oh, she's fucking crazy. Like, all this calm veneer of I'm doing this to protect our society, I'm just fucking crazy and I have a vendetta against people. And it's a really good episode. It's called Drumhead. If you ever get a chance to watch it, it's a Next Generation episode. You can look it up. You can look up the part that I'm talking about where this lady just loses her mind. Shit like that is really good. It's not just, oh, well, it's science fiction. No, it's a series of thought exercises and philosophical exercises. Like, what if this happened? How would you deal with it in an ethical way?
Yeah.
And to get someone who, I never understood that, so I said, fuck it. That's basically that's... And then you act surprised that fans are like, fuck this shit. Like, and even the bad Star Treks from back in the day, the movies, they always had a philosophical bent. The first Star Trek, the motion picture, is about like it echoes the journey of one of the main characters of the thing, who's basically going on a ritual to purge all emotion from his psyche, because he's a Vulcan and that's what Vulcans do. And he winds up realizing that emotions are also part of the experience of life. You can't just get rid of all your emotions. That's an interesting concept. Wrath of Khan is about how vengeance is all consuming. You can be so consumed with vengeance that even what you're trying to avenge can be destroyed. Star Trek 3 is the lengths that people will go for their friends. Star Trek 4 is, it's an environmental message. It's basically stop hunting whales. It's really, not really. It's kind of it's a lot of people like that one, but it's pretty simple. Star Trek 5 is, hey, it's the Star Trek crew goes and meets God. And it asks the big question that everyone has to ask. If these people claim they work for God, why does God need material possessions? Kind of, little. Captain Kirk asked the obvious question. Hey, if you're God, why does God need a ship? I mean, you're God. You can do anything. Why do you need a ship? And he gets blasted. It's an alien entity that has godlike powers that's been imprisoned on a planet in the center of our galaxy. That's neither here nor there. They ran out of money like in the last third of the movie, so they had to lose a lot of special effects. Look really cheap the last third of that movie, but there's some really good shit in The Final Frontier. And then we have the Undiscovered Country, which is an allegory for. It's an allegory for the fall of the USSR. That's all it is. It's literally like basically the Klingons are Russia, and functionally speaking, their energy moon explodes. That's an allegory for Chernobyl, and the Federation steps in and helps them deal with that shit. It's basically it. It's political intrigue. But yeah, the original trilogy was, the original series, all 6 of the OG original series movies are pretty good. Anyway, that's it. I got nothing else to say. Anything you want to bring up in unpopular opinion?
John Riccatello was fired.
Oh yeah, fuck that guy. Well, I mean, we kind of knew that was coming. Not when you drop a bomb like that, and then in the worst way possible. Like, you didn't tell anybody, you didn't talk to anybody, you're just like, oh, we're going to arbitrarily, on our side, just raise our prices, and retroactively, you have to pay us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like I said, Riccatello's falling on his sword, but Riccatello isn't the reason that Riccatello isn't the reason that this shit came out. This shit came out because Unity is a publicly traded company and they're not making money.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's not really falling on the sword because he's gonna get a golden parachute.
Oh, he already got a golden parachute. He literally cashed out a whole bunch of stock before this shit came out because he knew it was going to be some bullshit.
Yeah. That was crazy. Yeah, when I heard about that, I was like, wow, okay. Sometimes I think people, I don't know. Why would you do that, knowing that you were probably gonna get shit canned? Unless this was a way this is a way out. This is a kamikaze attack.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say something, and some people are gonna get mad, but I don't give a fuck. Unity has a money problem, okay? Because a lot of people use Unity, and they are using the free version.
Yeah.
Okay? And their games are never going to sell enough that Unity gets any money out of it. So they needed to raise money. What I'm saying is, They did it the wrong way. You don't arbitrarily one-sided just announce we're doing all this shit. You get your partners in and you say, look, we need to make money. Okay?
Yeah.
So, we're going to raise our fees and we want you guys on board. Because you guys are actually paying a licensing fee and whatever, and you license so many copies of this, we're gonna cut you a break, but we gotta bring some revenue in. We gotta generate more revenue for our business. Because businesses understand you having to make money, okay? But what you don't do is fucking just arbitrarily say, yeah, we're gonna raise our prices and fuck all you can do about it. And not they unleashed a plan that was half formed, and they just had some bullet points about what they were going to do, and they had people on the back scrambling to get the shit to come out. But Riccatello's old, and it's about time for him to go the fuck away. Go do something else.
Yeah.
Go buy his yacht.
Yeah. Buy his yacht. Go take care of his sugar babies. Call it a day. Yeah, but when I heard that news, it's like, yeah, that's I don't know. I mean, I would have liked to have been there in that meeting. Been a fly on the wall that meeting.
Oh, we all know how that meeting went. That meeting went like this. The person came out there and said, look, John, we're going in two different directions, and I think your presence has become a distraction to the day-to-day business operations. Therefore, I think that I think you should resign, and we'll find somebody else to run the company.
Yeah.
Or he may have said it himself. He may have said, you know what, my presence is becoming a distraction to the company, and therefore I resign in order to. Because, I mean, here's the thing. He's going to get his money anyway. He's going to get his severance or whatever. Plus, he liquidated a whole bunch of stock before the shit came out. Because man, let me put it this way. I am not a big businessman, okay? Small business. But even I know you can't arbitrarily rate. Literally, here's what he essentially did, okay? It would be the equivalent of me going up to somebody and saying, hey, you're sitting... you go to a restaurant, right? And you saw what the prices were on the menu and you ordered all the shit. Then someone come out and say, oh, and by the way, we aren't making enough money, so those drinks you ordered, that meal you just ordered, I know those drinks said on the menu that they were $6. We're going to raise them up to $20. And your meal, I know you got the meal deal that said you get a entree and you get an appetizer, entree, and dessert for $40. Yeah, we're raising it up to $60. While they're sitting at the table.
Yeah.
That's basically what they did.
Yeah.
That's not how you do that. The way you raise your prices to your customers is, look, I mean, sometimes honesty is the best policy. Go to your customer and say, look, I know you guys have been coming here for years. Our prices have increased. We have to raise our prices. We tried for the longest time not to do it, but we kind of have to. However, we're going to try and do it in a way that, still enables you guys to come in and, spend your money here and not feel like you're being taken advantage of. So, we're going to do it like this. Because at least people feel like they're involved with the decision.
Yeah.
They have a stake in the fight. What you don't do is just say, you're going to do this or else. Depot people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just... I would have liked to been in that meeting when people were I would have liked to see what people were thinking at that meeting when they were gonna go out with this plan. I would like to see the arguments, because I'm sure there are arguments. It's like, this is crazy. Why are you doing? It's like, we need to please our shareholders. They're gonna quit giving us
Yeah,
money if we.
yeah. We gotta like money. They were like, we gotta make money, and
Mm.
so I don't know what to say. I mean, we kind of knew it was gonna happen. It was gonna happen regardless, but because they got to make money. Like that's why I would never want to like I wouldn't want to own a business where I was beholden to the public like that. Because I don't want people, because they're like, well, where's my money? It's like, you do realize that we have a product that costs X amount of dollars to make, and video game engines aren't that profitable anyway. I mean, shit, Unity's firing people. Unity.
Yeah.
These are the fucking Fortnite people. If the Fortnite people are firing people,
You mean Epic?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you said Unity.
Sorry, the Fortnite people. If the Fortnite people ain't making money, look, you think Unity's like the third stringer game engine. Okay, if they ain't making money, then it's not good. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Can't say I'm surprised though, because I mean, I could tell that Epic was in trouble when you saw the quality of their quote unquote free games.
Yeah.
It's like they got those free games got consecutively more and more dire because
Yeah.
people just have Epic for the free game, and then they go away. Like, people ain't going out their way for Epic. I don't
Yeah.
even play Fortnite. I'm like, I don't give a shit about Fortnite. I don't give a shit about Fortnite. I don't care. I wasn't. I kind of stopped giving a fuck about Epic when Tim Sweeney was like talking shit about Valve. He's like, well, Valve is holding back the industry. I'm like, not really though.
Oh, how are they holding things back? They're
They're
not
like,
the ones firing a bunch of people right now.
they're the only ones not firing nobody. Look, you work for Valve, you got a good ass job.
Them and Nintendo ain't firing people left and right.
No. So I don't, I don't understand that. They're like, well, Valve is the problem. I'm like, because they have a working they have a high quality online service.
Yeah.
Like, how is that a problem? I don't understand that one. I'm like, I don't get that one.
Yeah. Exactly.
But whatever. And they tried to say, well, we're being pro consumer, but you aren't though. You aren't being pro consumer.
Yeah.
For one thing, you're allowing crypto and blockchain games on your thing, which is as anti fucking, because we all know that shit is a fucking Ponzi scheme. It's a pyramid scheme where the people at the top put their money in and build up the value. Then they get the lower quality people to put even more quality, the lower money people to put even more money in. Then the people at the top pull their money out while it's worth something, cash out, and then the value of what everyone else's shit goes down.
Yeah.
So how is that pro-consumer? How are you pro-consumer when you have blockchain and Bitcoin shit on your fucking store, where Valve does not? But whatever. Anyway, that's the end. Anything you want to pimp out before you wrap things up, sir?
No, I'm good.
All right. No.
Project
Yeah, go ahead.
Console, 7:30. Should be back next week. Had some other stuff going on.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner, proprietor, BS Busters. I have a podcast next week where it's going to be the Starfield special Starfield cast, where I will give my in-depth review of Starfield. That's going to be fun. Look forward to that. Plus other shit too, so it'll be fun. That's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. If you want to get in touch with the channel, you can reach me at mrredfoxbsbuster@gmail.com or the Discord, which there's a link in the description. Thank you. Enjoy. I think we'll have one more cast before. Yeah, we'll have one more cast before Halloween. And that'll be on the 25th, and that'll be our spooky cast. Oh, scary. So look forward to that. Peace.